We finished restoring your early 1970s Nishijin A Pachinko machine, and this quick start guide will show you how to set it up and play. The first thing you want to do is make sure the ball drain lever is shut. On the back of the machine on the right, it is a wire loop that is right here. You just lift up on it, and now it's in the shut position. And moving over to the left of the machine, two things. One, this is the clear plastic part, the cover that we replaced, as well as this recycler tray. But what you need to make sure is behind here there's a white piece of plastic, and it's a seesaw, and it pivots up and down as you're playing the machine when you get jackpots. Right now it's in the wrong position, it's aimed down, so we're going to need to reset it. You could just stick your finger back in here and push it down to reset it, or you could also grab these levers that are also attached to it to reset it. So that's the correct position. You always want to make sure it's in that position when you're starting to play. There is a little metal tab back here with a spring on it. It should always be flipped over to the right like that. That's the correct position, allowing this to move up and down. Now we want to connect the battery. We can just swing this over and plug it in. You could, instead of plugging it into the battery, we have the transformer, and here's a plug here taped to this pole. You could plug this plug into this plug the two plugs together, and then you could take your transformer and plug that into the wall to run it off of the wall. And like I said, if you want to do the battery, just use this one to the battery, but never plug this other one that goes to the wall plug into the battery. Okay, with the battery plugged in, this light comes on. Now this light comes on is to let you know that your top supply tray is out of balls, and you should refill that tray. When you refill that tray, this weighted arm will pivot down, turning off your light. What that arm also does is it comes over here, and there's a rod that goes all the way down, and it attaches and goes through to the front of the machine, and it'll shut off the flow of balls. So as you're playing, if the light doesn't come on, like if you don't have the battery hooked up and no balls are feeding into your supply tray, that's another indicator that you need to add balls up here. Let's take a look at the front real quick. So through this window you can see balls as they go from your play tray into your shooter assembly. So if you're playing and no balls are feeding through, that might be because the part back here is blocking the flow. There's also this sign here that has a little anchor on it. This is a wait sign, or it's a reminder to tell you to fill up the supply tray. And when you fill it up, that sign lifts out of the way, and now you can play. Go ahead and load some balls into the play tray. Now we'll add some balls to the supply tray, and when we do, they'll run down this metal ramp here. They'll make this turn, and they'll go down this chute into a tray down below. It's called your recycler tray. As the balls go through, you might see this lever bounce up and down, and eventually it'll lift up, and this lever will block the flow of balls. So whenever there's enough in the recycler tray, this will cut off and save balls up here. And after you've got a few jackpots, there won't be enough in that recycler tray. This will drop down, more balls will come down and fill this tray back up. We'll also see the light go out. Okay, we have a few extra balls here. I'll just go ahead and pour them in the recycler tray. And then you take your bucket and you set it just down here on the bottom. It will catch balls that fall out of a chute right here. And also, if you have balls in your recycler tray, back up, and if your tray gets really full, there's an overflow chute, and I'll drop a ball in so you can see it come out the bottom. And so this tray will catch those balls. Now before we go to the front, I want to show you just a couple more things. This switch here is for when you get a jackpot. When that seesaw pivots down, it activates this switch, which turns on this light. And that's normal, that's how the machines were originally designed. Well, I believe someone in your family modified this machine by cutting a hole in this white cover and putting a light here. So I went ahead and hooked that up the same way, because that's kind of neat, because they both flash when you get a jackpot, and we'll see that from the front. What this cover is you could pull down, lift up, and swing the cover out of the way if you needed to get inside of here, like if there was carpet fuzz or something in the ball tracks. Also here there's a track with a paper clip looking piece here. If you pull down on that, then this arm can swing open and you clean out the tracks there as well. Now we'll talk about the parts on the front of the machine. This chrome post here is your finger rest bar, and you set your index finger up against it, then you take your thumb and you grab hold of the flipper, and you're going to pull down on the flipper, and then you slide your thumb off of it, and there's a spring and it'll pull the flipper back up. What that does is it launches a piston inside, and that piston will hit the ball, and it'll go up this shooter lane here, around the lane, and it hits a bumper here. When it hits that bumper, it bounces off, and then it'll start to drop. It'll ping past the nails. The round circles are spinners that redirect the ball, and the object is to get the ball to either go into the center main attraction, any of these holes, or to get it to go in one of the tulips. They're all open right now. They have wings that are open. When a ball goes in, they close. When they're closed and a ball goes in, they open. And you also have a couple of fixed pockets here. Now if the balls go by and they miss all of those things, they'll drop down here and exit through this outlet and fall into the recycler tray and back. Now when you get a jackpot, you'll see the light flash here, and then there'll also be a light here, the one that was added on, so we'll see the window here. This window is really neat because that's where your jackpot payout seesaw is. So you've got balls in there now in the two tracks under that white cover, and when you get a jackpot, the seesaw will pivot down, the balls will fall out, and you'll get to see that as that light's on. Then it pivots back and it refills up. Okay, let's play Pachinko. The first time we pull this down, nothing's going to happen because it's going to be loading a ball into the shooter lane. That happens every time, the first time you set up your machine. Now we'll shoot. Okay, we got a ball in this pocket. The balls paid out of the seesaw, they rolled down, they hit a bell, and then they came out to our play tray here. And of course we saw the lights flash. Now, this tulip just closed, so I want to try and aim for these over here because these are open. It's going to be much easier to get a ball in them when they're open than when they're closed. So to do that, you use skill. You pull down the flipper only part way to try and get the ball to just come up this ramp and maybe drop right down here to get to this tulip. Now if you don't pull hard enough, it'll roll up the ramp, but if it's not enough to get out of the ramp, it'll just roll back down, it'll drop through here and go to your play tray. Okay, we got a ball to go through here, and we also got a ball to go through here, so we got a couple of jackpots. What we're going to do now is we're going to zoom in, we're going to take a look at this main attraction area, because when you get balls to go into certain places, different things will happen, like if a tulip is closed, it'll open. Okay, I'm going to include a little envelope that's going to have a couple of brass nails in it, these brass nails from the playfield. There is one missing here and one missing here. Right above these two pockets. I imagine that someone in the family must have taken them out at some point in time. It's great, it makes it much easier to get a jackpot because that nail isn't blocking the path. But if you're getting too many jackpots and you want to, you could add that nail back in. Just put it in the hole and tap it down. Okay, I'm going to drop a ball in this top left side. And it opened this pocket. I'm going to gently close it, but you never want to pry these open. And I'll drop one on the other side. It'll probably open this pocket. Now the center has 5 lanes. The center is A, the 2 next to it are B, and the 2 on the outside are C. Now if you get one in the A lane, all of the pockets open up. That's very nice. If we get one in the B, we'll drop it on this B lane. We saw the 2 outside. We'll do the other B. The 2 center. do the C over here. We're out of balls, so we didn't get a payout. Now we'll drop one in C on the other side. Look at the seesaw when you get a jackpot. Okay, now we've won quite a few jackpots, so what we need to do is we need to empty the play tray and the receiving tray so we can fill up the trays and back. So you can just put a bucket down here, scoop them out with your hand. Now, you also have balls here. Whenever you need to get the balls out of here, there is a lever right here. You'll slide it over to the left, and as you do, the balls will flow from here down into your receiving tray. If they ever jam up or don't flow, just take your finger and kind of loosen the balls. You may also need to flip the flipper while you're loosening to get them to flow. We've emptied all the balls out, and since it's empty, I'll go ahead and show you how to open up this play tray door and the play field door. Although there's a lock here, they never shipped keys when they shipped these to the U.S. because these were in gambling casinos over in parlors over in Japan, and they didn't want keys floating around. So you don't need a key. Yours is using just tabletop legs, so you're just sitting on a table. So if you need to get to the back, all you do is reach around to the back here, and there is a loop. Yeah, right here, that loop. You just lift up on that loop, and it'll pop open your play field door. Then you swing open your play field door, and right in the corner here, in the left corner, there is a metal tab, and you're going to push down on that tab, and when you do, you can pull open your play field door. So push down, swing it open, and now I have access to my shooter assembly and shooter lane. Now you might have to do this if ever there's a jam, like people have a lot of balls jammed up in here and you can't get them out, carpet fuzz, maybe things that shouldn't be in the Pachinko machine. That's why you're going to need to get the door open. Let me zoom in and show you this. Okay, here's the shooter lane. There's a ball there. I'll just pick that up in my hand, take it out. You have this weighted arm here. Here's a rectangular weight, and there is a clear plastic post here. That post goes through the back of the machine and engages with, oh, we can see it right here, this piece of plastic that I'm flipping. That post needs to go under that piece of plastic, because what happens is when you pull down on your flipper, it moves that plastic part, and that plastic part pivots this weighted arm, loading a ball into your shooter lane. I'm just going to pull down with my hand, kind of show you how that would work. Pull down, let go, and it's going to pop a ball out into the shooter lane. I'll go ahead and do that just to get them all out. You could also open the door here to the shooter assembly by pinching down on the end. There's 2 ends. You pinch, and then you can swing it open, and that'll give you access in case you have carpet fuzz or anything in here. Close it. You just do the opposite. Pinch that closed. So when we close this, we want to make sure that that's not jamming up. If it's tight, don't force it. Look to make sure that everything's clear. You also have this here, which is your weight sign. Hard to see from that angle, but it's that anchor sign. That metal right there needs to go over this metal here. So as you're closing the door, make sure that that rides up. You'll just kind of look down at this angle and you can see that it's going over. Okay, we'll go ahead and close the door, and you may need to lift up just a little bit to help the door. So as I'm closing it, I just lift up just a little bit and then pinch it closed. Then you can do the same thing with your playfield door. Pull that over, and to close it, I grab it here and then also grab it at the top, and I just, with both hands, I just give it a quick snap and snap that closed. Get the balls out of the back of the machine. We're just going to push down on that loop over here to open, and when we do, the balls will roll out into this tray here, because you never want to store balls in your machine, lay it down, or ship it with balls in it. You always want to get them out. Okay, that concludes this quick start guide. We sure hope you enjoy your machine.